Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Views News and I'm Faisal Rahman live from our Islamabad studios. Today we'll be talking about the Afghan peace process. There's been a lot of development in Russia and Moscow during the last meeting where China, Pakistan, USA and the Russian representatives were there to talk about the ongoing Afghan peace process. At the same time, the other development is that the US President Joe Biden, he has admitted that some 2,500 US troops could still be in Afghanistan after the May 1st, the agreed upon deadline for the American forces to leave the country under a year-old deal with the Taliban. He also mentioned that it's going to be hard to meet the May 1st deadline, but it is not my intention to stay there for a long time. The US President Joe Biden further stated that the question is how and under what circumstances do we meet agreement that was made by President Trump to leave under a deal that looks like it's not been able to be worked out to begin with. Further mentioned by the commander of all US Special Forces, General Richard Clark, he says that it is clear that the Taliban have not upheld what they said they would do and reduce the violence. It is clear they took a deliberate approach and increased their violence since the peace accords were signed. Now, this is going to be an interesting area of discussion. Further, the Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid says that it is clearly stated in the agreement that America will withdraw all its troops from Afghanistan by May 1st, and we again ask them to strictly adhere to the mutually agreed deadline. Zabihullah Mujahid further states that in case Americans do not meet their obligations and abandon the agreement, the Islamic Emirate Taliban will be forced to defend their nation and consider all other options to force foreign troops out of the country. Interesting development in this regard, and the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani will propose a new presidential election within 6 months. Under a peace plan, he will put forward as a counter-offer to a US proposal that he rejects at Afghan Peace Conference in Turkey next month. The Taliban has rejected the proposal by the Afghan president. The transfer of power through elections is a non-negotiable principle for us, says the Afghan President, Mr. Ashraf Ghani. And now talking about in detail what exactly is going to happen, the updates during the Moscow conference, and now what exactly is going to be the major agenda of discussion in the upcoming conference in Turkey. To talk about that, let me introduce you to our panelists. We have been joined in through Skype, Amina Khan Saiba. She is the Director for Afghanistan, Middle East and Africa, ISSI. And we also have with us Dr. Zulfikar Kazmi, expert in foreign affairs. He's going to join us from USA. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ma'am, for your time. Now, if I may ask you, and I could proceed from Amina Khan. Amina, the development regarding the peace process in Afghanistan, the interesting part is that the actual bone of contention seems to be regarding the withdrawal of the American forces. Now, the interesting part is that May 1st seems to be an impossible sort of deadline to meet. This is exactly what Mr. Joe Biden has said. But at the same time, the Afghan delegation, the Taliban in particular, they want the American troops to be out of Afghanistan before the May 1st. So let's start off from there. Do you think this could be the actual reason where the process could sort of get a hit or something? Your take, ma'am.
The letter that was written by Blinken to President Ghani revealed a lot. And I think the fact that they've spoken about this 90-day period shows that it is impossible for the Americans to withdraw in such a hasty and haphazard manner. And I think this is something that the region also does not want, because, I think there's a regional consensus that if the Americans do withdraw in a haphazard manner, there's going to be, chaos and detrimental consequences for the region. So I think the Americans are aware of this particular factor, and that is why I think a lot will depend on what happens in Turkey. There is a consensus among the different political factions in Afghanistan, including the Taliban, of this interim inclusive setup, which of course President Ghani has opposed, and hence he's proposed his own initiation of elections, which again, if you go by President Ghani's words, is a contradiction to what he used to say before, because he said that unless and until the term is completed, he will not go for any sort of elections. So I think a lot is going to depend on what happens in Turkey, but I think my understanding is that eventually, both sides will have to find a middle path and come to some sort of a compromise. And I think while the fighting will continue, because the Taliban, if they've halted attacks, they've only halted attacks against American forces. They've continued to attack Afghan national security forces, which I think, again, is a major hurdle. But I think eventually some sort of a compromise will be achieved where this will be extended beyond May. And I think this is what the Americans intend to do. They've been pushing diplomacy, visits left, right, and center. And then, of course, you've had, the Moscow dialogue. So I think it's cautious optimism, but the fact is that all sides have to compromise on their maximalist positions, and this is where the deadlock lies. And I think apart from that, the Taliban have to show some reduction in violence. I think this is paramount. This will also put them in a more favorable light in the international community as a more responsible stakeholder, because, as I've said this time and again, the Taliban cannot continue to justify their violence because they're not actually liberating Afghanistan from foreign control anymore. It's ordinary Afghans that continue to pay the price. And here I think President Ghani has a historical moment to prove himself not only to the Afghan public, but as well, I think, to the international community, if he steps down and allows for this interim setup, inclusive setup. But again, it's a very complex process. It's very fragile. And I think one has to just, cautiously see how the situation unravels.
One has to be cautious as the situation in Afghanistan seems to be pretty fluid. Coming to you, Dr. Zulfikar Kazmi Saab, on one end, we see that the Afghan Taliban, they are not attacking the American forces. That's the deal. But having said that, when you talk about the Afghan forces, yes, they are in the line of fire. Second important area is that you talk about this very important factor, that is the spring offensive. That is the time when they launch a lot of attacks all over the major cities, and that gives them a lot of strength. Actually, that gives them so much strength that when they talk, they are practically dictating the terms and conditions. Now, in such a scenario, sir, where the Americans really want them to go slow, and the actual option left for them is none other than the proper ceasefire or absolute reduction in violence also. The second important area is that will the Taliban do?
Thank you so much, Faisal Rahman. As Amina has said, I think that these are the valid points that she has raised in her discussion, because what I see while watching here closely to the Department of State activities and White House activities and media activities, I was expecting the same thing as President Joe Biden said, because when they came into power, Joe Biden administration was reviewing the policy, and they want to restructure many things, and this was included in their primary agenda, what we'll be doing in Afghanistan. So what they have said now is very much, expected at the time when Joe Biden came, because before Joe Biden, even people were thinking that President Donald Trump has not solidly built up a deal with Afghan people and Afghan Taliban at Doha, and they have made some, plan to withdraw the forces. So it was a time that Joe Biden was thinking that he needs to review the policy. Why he sent so many people to Afghanistan and to Pakistan even to take them into confidence that how they could be helping for Afghan peace process, and to withdraw the forces from Afghanistan. Even Khalil Zad and Secretary of Defense, they frequently visited to Afghanistan, and they were talking to Pakistan administration as well, and Imran Khan's, government as well. So it was expected. But what we see, until the Afghanistan will not be understanding a solid role of Afghan people, Taliban, they will not be having any peace, and it will not be possible for America to withdraw the forces until that time. But as Joe Biden said, that we are not staying for indefinite period. It is his determination. But as I said before, that because of some meetings which they have taken with the high-ranking Taliban people and with Ashraf Ghani's government officials and with the Ashraf Ghani. And meanwhile, there is another development. When Ashraf Ghani is saying that we are holding new elections. So these are all these aspects, are giving a new scenario for that region. And America is definitely has reviewed that how they could be, able to withdraw the forces. Earlier,
If I may intervene here,
in
the
American media,
word interestingly used by the current president of the United States of America is that these stressed soldiers, stressed, obviously they are. Whatever the number is, that is a different ballgame altogether. But at least they should vacate now. Even during the times of Mr. Bush, after that Mr. Obama, 2 of his terms, and even the previous president, Mr. Donald Trump, they all talked about that they don't want to stay in Afghanistan for an indefinite period, but they were clueless. They had to. It's been 19 years. The objectives, according to them, they have been achieved. Primarily, the major issue was about the elimination of Al-Qaeda or the non-state actors. That has been done, but at the same time, if Al-Qaeda has been eliminated, there have been many other groups they have come up, including the Sajna, the TTP Pakistan, or you talk about Shariar Masood's group, you talk about Saifullah group, you talk about ISIS, you talk about Daesh, you talk about so many other splinter groups. So primarily it seems that instead of doing something good, they have done the worst to the region, in particular to Afghanistan, sir.
I do agree what you said, because they have to see that how they could pull out that troops, which are very small. It's not, a matter of troops even. It's a matter of strategy which they have adopted for Afghanistan. And most of the, people in Afghanistan and in Pakistan even have a big disagreement on it, because they want to see that Afghanistan should be free from all, intervention from all sides, because they don't like to see presence of, U.S. troops and other troops. But again, America, because is involved from, as you said, from last 2 decades. It's not easy job. But I think that as Mr. Joe Biden said, it's not indefinite period. So we should believe on it. But what I see that maybe it should be 2022. But in media, had a perception. They were thinking that in November they will be withdrawing, but it will not be happening. If the November, then President has to say that in November. So November will not be happening. It will be taking a long time, and maybe as in our previous discussion we had, talked about maybe some, some tactical reasons, as they have mentioned now, they would be adding 1,000 more people. So this is what I see in that region. So Pakistan is definitely, stressing to United States and Taliban, all groups, and Ashraf Ghani government that they need a solution for a peace, for a lasting peace.
All right.
How it could
All
happen?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, coming to you, Amina Khan, couple of important points. One is about the letter that was written about 2 weeks ago, or perhaps a little more, to Mr. Ashraf Ghani by Mr. Blinken. So he offered a proposal that was immediately rejected by the Afghan government or the president of Afghanistan. At the same time, the Afghan president has also rejected the US peace plan. He is not in a mood to leave his seat and lose that kind of strength which he's enjoying at the moment. Ma'am, this particular person, Ashraf Ghani, is he a part of the problem or part of the solution?
Well, I think it depends on him, because he could be a part of the solution and clearly he is a part he's created numerous hurdles. But I think here it's important to mention that a major, I think, mistake was made when the US signed the agreement with the Taliban. They excluded Kabul. Now, while President Ghani may not have come into power through the vote, the power of the vote, he does have nuisance value. And I think it was understood that by ignoring Kabul, there certainly would be hurdles in the way. However, as you mentioned, he's created a number of hurdles, whether it's been the release of prisoners or in delay in, deciding who's going to be a part of the intra-Afghan talks from Kabul side, as well as his issues with Dr. Abdullah. Now, the fact is that, President Ghani, as I mentioned earlier, has a historic opportunity to, I think, rewrite the history of Afghanistan. And I think the logical, decision or the logical move I think that President Ghani could make is to push for an interim setup by saying that I'm going to, step down in 6 months. Because remember, in the Moscow talks in 2018 as well as 2019, and recently, all the different political factions that took part, and I'm talking about the major stakeholders, all of them agreed on this inclusive interim setup, whereas President Ghani and his team were the only ones that rejected it. And I think time and again when we talk about spoilers to the peace process, while yes, certainly external elements are there, I think the biggest hurdle is the internal divisions that exist. And we've seen that in the fact that, both these parties, Kabul and the Taliban, have not been able to move just even on the nascent issues in Doha. So this just shows you that there are issues, and again, President Ghani is just time and again throwing a spanner in the works, and it's just delaying the process. However, I feel that the Americans have realized that they can find a more, I think, reliable partner within the Taliban, because at the end of the day, they know that the Taliban are not going to go anywhere. And therefore, it's taken them more than nearly 20 years of bloodshed and instability to realize this. But the fact that they're engaging with the Taliban shows, and particularly the hidden messages that came in the letter, I think show that maybe President Ghani's time is going to be up pretty soon.
Now, looking at the role of the non-state actors, ma'am, you talk about Al-Qaeda, or you talk about the TTP and so many other splinter groups that exist inside Afghanistan. They've been supported by certain countries, by certain intelligence agencies, they've been trained, they've been financed, and they've been assigned certain targets and objectives, primarily to go after Pakistan. Now, ma'am, in such a scenario where we used to hear that the TTP has claimed a responsibility regarding a bomb blast or something, now we hear Daesh, for that matter, and so many other groups. So in order to have an absolute peace, I'm not saying that not even a single bullet is going to be fired from now onwards, but the point is that Pakistan has its own interests. Iran has its own. Chinese have their own, so the case is with the Russians. Indians have their own objectives. So it's kind of a very interesting mix out there. But somebody has to initiate. And the kind of commitment that has been shown by the Pakistani side is pretty decent. And the Americans do believe that the role of Pakistan is much more important than any other country. Let's comment on that.
Okay, so let me just say at the offset that while, all these regional countries that you've mentioned, whether it's Russia, whether it's Iran, whether it's the Central Asian bloc, or whether it's China, and of course Pakistan. So Afghanistan's immediate neighbors, I think there's now a recognition that it's time for regional countries to take ownership of the region and not depend on the international community to keep on bailing it out. And we've seen this in the form of China playing a more instrumental role in the peace process, as well as Russia, the Central Asians, and of course Iran as well, since it's been engaging with Kabul as well as the Taliban. Pakistan has been doing this from day one. And I know this sounds like a cliche, but generally the consensus is that unless until there is no peace and stability in Afghanistan, the region will always be under threat. And as you mentioned rightly, the Islamic State of Khorasan province is a threat that challenges the security of all these countries, as well as an insecure border, as well as the influx of refugees. So I think the region has far more to lose when it comes to an unstable Afghanistan. And therefore you see now regional countries taking ownership, whether it's through trilateral or bilateral or multilateral initiatives. Now, Pakistan from day one has been saying that this policy, dual policy of military actions and negotiations is not going to work. And the fact that now, it's come at a very later stage, but the fact that negotiations are taking place, and again, Pakistan's role is there, whether it's through the peace agreement, whether it's through the ceasefires we've seen from the Taliban, or the fact that, the Taliban in Kabul are engaging. However, I will caution here that Pakistan should support the process publicly as well as privately, put pressure on both sides, meaning the Taliban and Kabul, to engage. But look, at the end of the day, both these actors will have to compromise and reach an agreement themselves. Pakistan has for far too long taken the blame, and honestly, we're always damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. So it is time for the Afghans now to take leadership and solve their issues, as difficult as they may be. And here I think the Americans have a very important role to play since they were a signatory to the agreement. And I will say here that, for far too long, the Pak-Afghan bilateral relationship has suffered because it has always been viewed through the security lens or through the peace process. And as a result, other important areas of our bilateral relationship have been ignored. So therefore, I think the peace process and security should not determine the relationship anymore. It's detrimental, and I think we've seen it. We need to focus on expanding the contours of our relationship. It's pivotal. So while Pakistan should continue to support the process, it should engage with Kabul and vice versa through other means, whether it's interconnectivity, whether it's bilateral, transit trade, and whatnot.
Now, Kazmi Saab, the interesting part is that the Taliban officials, they are insistent, and they're insisting that Washington should honor the previous agreement and they should vacate by May 1st. And at the same time, Joe Biden has very categorically mentioned that it seems it is going to be impossible to leave around the 1st of May. That is hardly a month away, I would say. Now, the interesting part is that the Afghan Taliban spokesperson, Zabiullah Mujahid, very categorically mentioned that if they do not, I'll in fact read his statement. He says that in case Americans do not meet their obligations and abandon the agreement, the Islamic Emirate Taliban will be forced to defend their nation and consider all other options to force foreign troops out of the country. Now, that is a clear-cut message that if you do not leave by the 1st of May, then get ready for the consequences. And earlier we were not attacking the American troops. This time we will. So after a month or even prior to that, what sort of an atmosphere do you see inside Afghanistan, sir?
I think that what you have said, that how America wants to look at the situation in Afghanistan right now, we have seen their perspective. But as President Ashraf Ghani has mentioned for the new elections, actually it has been given, these words have been given by the United States of America because they want to see him in power again. But I think that it will not be fair that if the other stakeholders, mean other people, Taliban and other people will not be, considered fairly. So it's a matter that they need to deal Afghan, issue right now. It's not easy. It has a multiple, dimensions, including withdrawal of forces, elections, and so many segments in Afghanistan who they are, who they are the real, stakeholders in that all dispute. So I think that Pakistan has a right standpoint that they are thinking that if they have announced an election, then I agree with Amina Khan that President Ghani should step down because fair elections are very important. But America, I have seen their intention, they will not be, happening this because they know that if it will be happening, then again, Ashraf Ghani and his group. But I think it's the right time to make right decisions. Right decisions are that they should keep in loop Taliban, who they have an effective role and who they have a key for peace in that region. All those segments have gone, as you have mentioned about Al-Qaeda or other things, Now, the power which people are holding on behalf of Afghanistan, actually, these are the Taliban. So they should be, even when we say that withdrawal of plan of withdrawal has been extended, we see that we are not fair with the Taliban because we made a deal with them to withdraw the forces. I agree. It was, had to be happen in that perspective. So it was very important. So I think that so many things that Islamic world should play its role as well to, ask Afghanistan that they should have a unity. They should bring unity through Islamic peace perspectives
I think
in
the important role would be of the OIC as well, sir. I mean, there was this proposal once this alliance of the Muslim countries was created, and it was more or less like NATO in one way or the other. But, sir, now we have been also joined in by Ambassador Sanallah Mia. Assalamu alaikum ji.
Walaikum Assalam. Your sound is not, voice is not very clear. Yes.
Sana Saab, can you hear me, sir?
Now I can, but earlier the speaker, I couldn't comprehend what.
All right, sir. As long as you can hear me, so all is well. Now, Sanallah Mia Saab, one area that the Americans, they believe that there should be a responsible end. So the case is with the NATO. Now the question is, sir, over here, I still remember there was a statement issued regarding the deadline of the 1st May, and it was Mr. Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO. He mentioned that, it is impossible, and later on the statement from the US President came, and he also agreed with that. But now the actual problem, this is the question which I had put to our other guest also. Arab Spring, we all witnessed in 2011, and whatever happened in those countries, people are still suffering. The new formula, whenever there's a formula for peace or formula for democracy, sir, that country is ruined. When it comes to Afghanistan, sir, this is a land where people really believe in their culture, in their historical perspective, and so much more. They would never let any foreigner come and rule and guide them. And history is a witness of that. Now, sir, it's been 19 years. The American invasion took place in 2001. Things are worse than before even. Responsible or logical conclusion, do you see that happening in the near future, sir? Or you believe that the same fate is going to be there for the Afghan people earlier when the Russians vacated and the Americans pulled out?
Basically, it is not. Not that the foreigners would bring in some kind of a peace in Afghanistan. It entirely depends on Afghan themselves. Naturally, a lot has happened during the past 19 years, and this deadline could not have been reached. It was something which had been discussed since the new administration came in, that within 10 weeks it is impossible to realize the full withdrawal. It is not a question of withdrawing 2,500 troops. Actually, the combatant, the forces have been outsourced. There are about 23,000 people, Americans, soldiers who are fighting war over there. Then NATO has already said that they will see the conditions first. Nobody wants Taliban to go and grab Kabul. So it is all. I don't see any peace returning, even if a segment of American troops stay back in Afghanistan, which the President Joe Biden has said there is no question. But I somehow or other have the feeling that in some form the American troops would stay back, and it would be for longer period. May not be 2022, but they would be there. for a few more months. And so far, I don't see how the hell they can extricate themselves from Afghanistan unless they want to create a vacuum, a void, which can be exploited by the military people. I mean, those who still believe that militancy can win them power in Afghanistan. Taliban are not prepared to give in unless they get what they aspired for the last so many years. This is how I look at it: more chaos, more unrest, more disturbance for Afghans first, and then for the neighbors. And
Absolutely.
whatever.
Ambassador Saab, another important area, the commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command, General Clark, warned the lawmakers, that was yesterday, that the current government in Afghanistan could fail and the security forces could be overrun by the Taliban and if the U.S. troops leave. So this is the military perspective, sir. They want that the troops should be there in order to create an equilibrium, a balance.
I tend to agree with it because the Afghan government, though they represent a faction within the Pashtun as well as outside the Tajiks and other minorities, Hazara and others, but they do not have the forces or the power or even the willpower, I would say, to fight back. And the insurgent Taliban. And Taliban is likely to run them down. But it does not mean that there would be complete victory for Taliban, and there would not be a bloodbath. So it is going to be terrible position, terrible situation, and there is a likelihood that again we go back to some kind of a division or some kind of a different center of powers, and these powers are organized along ethnic lines. So it would be some time that peace would return. And for Pakistan, it would be a bad news. Pakistan wants a responsible withdrawal and a coalition, and that is more suitable because that brings peace, normalcy, and lasting, sustainable phase of stability. That would be good for the region, and only then the other governments can give money and funds to introduce democratic setup, a rule-based society, rule-based, system-based government. Otherwise, it would be all chaos, and whatever has been achieved so far in the last 19 years would be lost.
That is the actual problem. Thank you so much, Ambassador Saab. Now coming to you, Amina. We always think that Afghanistan is going to be a peaceful country, no more war, things would be settled down, and we would see the actual Afghanistan emerging once again. But that seems to be like a dream. The actual reality is a lot different. Now, when you talk about the overall Afghan structure, the Americans, they have spent trillions, could not achieve the exact desired results. Ma'am, the second point is that the Taliban, they have their own agenda. Non-state actors, they are there to create problems. The Afghan government has so many divisions within themselves. I mean, Ashraf Ghani thinks differently. Abdullah has his own point of view. And then you have got so many other people who are dealing with day-to-day business. You have warlords. You have absolute chaos. There is no economy. The word economy, I fail to understand what exactly is the economy of Afghanistan. Honestly speaking, other than drugs, I've got no clue. How will they sustain what would be the procedure? I mean, post-vacation, they have got no plan what to do. Whether they leave or they don't leave, considering the current situation, I mean, they have no agenda post 1st of May. So obviously, one thing is for sure, they're not vacating. Ma'am.
Wish, but as you said, I think it's wishful thinking. The fact that, the country has been at war with itself for such a long time, we shouldn't expect, 19 years the country has been at war, so you cannot have quick fixes. And that is why I think it is important that while they've already spent 19 years, let them spend another couple of years and let it be a responsible and a measured withdrawal. The Americans should only withdraw from Afghanistan once there is some sort of semblance. I'm not saying that the country comes to, complete, stable structure, but at least that there is some functional semblance. And I think this is critical. And again, I feel that, I keep on going back to the agreement that was signed with the Taliban. Very little focus was given to what the future of Afghanistan will look like, what shape will it be, what kind of a political structure there will be. Again, it was very short-sighted, and I think it was a quick fix for the Trump administration, where they just focused on, a ceasefire, the withdrawal of foreign forces, counterterrorism assurances, and intra-Afghan talks. But when we talk about counterterrorism assurances, there's a point that I just wanted to add, that look, I think it's very clear the Taliban have realized that, by associating themselves with other terrorist groups, whether they're transnational or international, has, been detrimental to their cause. And the fact that the Taliban have been engaged in a bloody battle against the ISKP shows that the group is not interested in aligning itself with any militant group simply because it goes against its interests, number one. Number two, I think the fact that when the Americans gave a deadline for withdrawal, and it was meant to be May 1st, I think that in itself created, problems. And then the Taliban keep on saying that they have fulfilled their side of the agreement because they have stopped killing or attacking American forces, which was part of the agreement. And the fact that the Trump administration allowed this and welcomed this and rather acknowledged the Taliban's efforts, because time and again you had Secretary Pompeo giving statements saying that the Taliban, of all the actors, have in fact fulfilled their side of the agreement. So there are a number of issues that were overlooked, and that is why I feel that it is important that important areas that are critical for the future of Afghanistan, which is the future political setup, who will the critical actors be? If you see the leaked document of the US Taliban agreement, it talks about an interim inclusive setup that will have, of course, the Afghan Taliban in it, but other political factions. But again, it's very vague, and therefore more discussions need to take place. Also, I think the Taliban realize that they cannot be in power completely, and therefore they time and again have said that, they don't envisage a monopoly of power. They're welcome to a power sharing setup. But again, their stance is also contradictory because it's just these mere words. There is nothing concrete in what kind of a future political setup there will be. And yes, you're right, the country cannot survive on its own. It's a narco state, unfortunately. And again, if the Americans have invested, I think they've been very half-hearted policies because a lot has gone into corruption and a lot of the money has gone back to the Americans. So I think it's been overall, an exercise in futility where it has cost the Americans, billions and billions of dollars as well as lives, but as well as the Afghan, population. Remember, when Bush came into Afghanistan, he said he was going to liberate the people of Afghanistan. And as you said, Afghanistan is in a far worse situation than it was, say, back in 2001. So I think
exactly, ma'am. That's why I gave you the example of the Arab Spring,
yes.
that liberation actually means forget about democracy, absolute destruction. Look at the way they liberated Iraq. Iraq was one of those countries which had the best infrastructure in the Middle East.
But
it was a social welfare state. Look at what they have done to it. But what my point, my quick last comment from you, and then I'll move to Tazmi Saab, and that is about the Afghan election. I mean, if you look at the 2 terms of Hamid Karzai, absolute mess. Now 2 terms of this gentleman, Ashraf Ghani. Both the times the election was challenged. Once Abdullah became the CEO, now he's heading the another group. Now the point is, ma'am, whatever result they have, nobody's going to accept that. So elections or no elections, or a role or maybe a slight role of the Taliban, Will that mean anything? Will that meet all the requirements of the current demand? And at the same time, ma'am, the Taliban, they have very categorically rejected that the Afghan presidential proposal for election is not at all acceptable now or never.
I don't think it's just the Taliban, by the way, that have rejected this notion of, having these elections. Again, I keep on emphasizing all the different political factions that took part in the Moscow talks. They have categorically also spoken about an inclusive and an interim setup, basically, which means that the Taliban will, of course, be a part of the government or the structure. But then you'll have other political factions. It's basically taking a piece of the pie. And this is the only way that it's going to work. And yes, again, as I said, President Ghani might create hurdles and throw spanners in the works. But at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the Americans to put pressure on both sides to deliver and then to withdraw and allow them to negotiate as well. I think logically, and again, this is for the Afghans to decide because it's, not Pakistan's position to say so, but I think logically, the regional countries are on the consensus that there has to be an inclusive setup. And that can only take place once you include all the political factions, including the Taliban. And the Taliban have said that they're willing to move forward on this. This is the plausible way to move forward. And again, here, I think more pressure, I foresee more pressure on President Ghani in the future. And just one last point, and then I'll, end here. Well, we keep on saying that, maybe the OIC could take over or play a role in peacekeeping. I wonder whether the OIC would be willing to do so because, you see, a mess has been created and I don't think any organization or regional country would like to, step in unless and until there is no semblance of peace. It's very convenient for the Americans to say that now, other organizations need to play their role. But the fact is that the Americans came and the Americans need to ensure a responsible, a measured withdrawal, and at the same time, ensure some sort of semblance within Afghanistan.
All right. Now, Kazmi Saab, after this meeting in Moscow, the Taliban as well as the Afghan government, they've agreed, at least finally they've agreed on something, and they have agreed to accelerate the peace talks after the Moscow summit. Now, the next meeting is going to be held in Turkey. Areas of divergence
yes.
and area of convergence. Your take, sir.
I think that, Mr. Fazlur Rahman, one thing we should consider very seriously that we need to give a chance in Afghanistan, no matter where the dialogues are happening, where America is engaged with the dialogue or something, these should be productive now. And number two, they should have a firm, schedule to withdraw the forces from Afghanistan. And Joe Biden should think about, definitely he said indefinite, but indefinite is not explaining anything about peace in Afghanistan. And meanwhile, because the elections are very close, and gate to power is a gate, is only a political way, So Pakistan has already made a very firm standpoint that they will not be interfering in the political process, but they will be helping to build up a political, stability in Afghanistan. They like to say every time. So a couple of things we need to understand in American perspective. They should not do any military exercise because in 20 years, it's a very bitter experience for the whole world that what they have seen in Afghanistan. So they should have a firm agenda and schedule to withdraw the forces. Number two, Afghanistan is not, they should not see like Arab Spring or something. Arab Spring was a dream, but finally, some people say it was a horrible dream because we have seen some consequences in that region which were not establishing peace in that area. Solutions are we need to get to resolve the issues. We should be part of solutions, and Pakistan can play a major role to bring peace in Pakistan and to help America, as my other colleagues have said, that with this.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. for your participation in the program. Thank you so much, Amina Khan, and thank you so much, Dr. Zulfikar Kazmi, and also lots of thanks to Mia Sanullah, the former ambassador who joined in our program. And that's all we have for this hour, for this day, and for this week. I'll see you, inshallah, on Monday. Till then, you take good care of yourself. Khuda Hafiz.